and welcome back to Baby Kids Yoga. If this is your first time with us, be sure that you check out our little clip, which is an introduction to yoga with Baby Kids. And if not, make sure that you've got a space ready for doing some yoga in, that you're wearing clothes you feel comfortable with moving around in. And as always, our only rule is to be kind to yourself. Make sure you only do moves that feel comfortable to you today. We start today's session, as we always do, with a short greeting, Namaste. It's a greeting from my heart to your hearts all around the world, and from your hearts all the way around the world back to mine. So hands in prayer position or Anjali Mudra by the heart, sitting up nice and tall after 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Today's story took stage a very long time ago. And it took place at the highest hill of England. Bringing ourselves round onto our hands and knees, placing our hands just underneath our shoulders and tucking our toes under. We're going to lift our bottoms up into the air, into a big V position, just like a nice high hill. Tucking those toes under and pushing up. There we go. See if you can get your heels down to begin with. And now lift up to make it the very highest hill you can. Now on this hill, there was also an old tree. And in the tree was an owl. Bringing yourselves back down onto your knees. Come round and lift your feet out either side, bringing you into a deep squat. The owl sat in this tree and watched as the birds arrived from every possible corner of England. Placing your hands as binoculars over your eyes and using your arms as little wings, the owl looked out to the east. And then he looked out to the west. He looked north and he looked south. And soon the entire hill was covered with birds. Bringing yourself up, standing straight, feet together. He noticed as the branches of his tree swayed, lifting your arms up into the air, straight above you, swaying from one side to the other, that there were a number of birds that he recognized. Binocular eyes once more, owls squinted to the far distance, crossing one leg over and crossing one arm in the opposite direction to the leg. Twist yourself round. On closer scrutiny, he could see the blue tits. Going back round, uncrossing the legs, crossing over the other side and crossing the arms in the opposite direction again. Looking further, he could see the chaffinch and the pigeons. Coming back round. Soon the entire area was covered with birds. Soon he spotted the swallow swooping and diving, bringing yourself down into a lying position. Laying your feet slightly wider than hip width, pointing the toes flat and lying your arms out straight in front of you. On the count of 3, you will try to lift up the legs and lift up your arms at the same time to mimic the swooping swallow. 1, 2, 3, and lift. Surely I should be the king of all birds, said the swallow. I fly to Africa and back. Surely the bird that flies the furthest should be the king of all birds. Bringing the arms and the legs back down. Coming on up. And there were also other birds on the hillside. there were the chaffinch and the blue tits. Coming into a high kneeling position, they were showing off their wings in the sunlight, lifting your arms to the side and stretching forward with the arms and rounding the spine at the back. I'll choose once more to the side so you can see. Once again, lift those wings, those beautiful feathers, and stretch them forward, and at the same time arch the spine back. And lower those beautiful feather wings. Oh, the blue tits and the chaffinch were so proud of their beautiful colours. Surely we should be the king of all birds, they said. We've got the most beautiful wings, most beautiful of feathers. But over on another area of the hill were the rooks, the jackdaws and the crows. They were all saying, but we are the most intelligent of the birds. We are the most clever. Surely we should be the king of all birds. We're going to try crow pose. Lifting your legs up and trying to push your bottom into the air. You're going to see if you can get your knees into the underarms so that your shins will make contact with the upper arm. Hands are shoulder width apart as you lean the weight forwards. Remember to keep your head up and not to dip it down. Keeping the weight of the head up, leaning the weight into the hands slowly. See if you are able to lift a foot, then the other, and coming back down. We're going to show that on the other side too, so you can see a side view, and this time we're going to see if we can lift both feet. Placing your hands down in front of you, shoulder width apart. Again, bottom up. You're going to try and line those knees in with the underarm. Then your shin and your upper arm area will make contact. Remember to keep your head up, not drop down, as you slowly lean your weight forwards and onto the upper arm. Then, if you're feeling brave and balanced, lift one foot. Here's the crow going to take flight. Lift the other foot. And there we have our balance. Beautiful! What wonderful, clever crows and rooks and jackdaws you are. Now near the tree, there was a giant boulder of granite. In a kneeling position, with your bottom to your heels, lean yourself forward so your head touches the ground to become that big boulder. And bringing yourself back up. And on that boulder sat a golden eagle. Tucking your toes under at the back and bringing yourself up to a standing position. We're going to begin by taking our arms out to the side and crossing one arm over the other. We're going to then lift both arms so the fingers point to the ceiling and try and wrap them round each other in a right twist. Then we are going to take the same leg that is above in terms of arm. So the top leg is the same side as the arm that is above. We're going to cross the leg over and behind the shin and lower ourselves down in eagle pose. Bringing yourself back up. Whew, that's quite a balance, isn't it? Well, eagle was sitting on top of this boulder and saying, well, I am the greatest of all the birds, and therefore I should be the king of all birds. Let's try that golden eagle on the other side. Arms up wide, this time cross the other arm on top, and at the same, it will be that same leg that goes on top. Crossing the arms over, point the fingers to the ceiling and twist and wrap them round. Then take that same leg, lift it up, balance through the other leg, cross it over, tuck behind, bend the knee, and sit yourself down in that beautiful eagle pose. Bringing ourselves back up and taking ourselves back down to sit on the ground. Now at the bottom of the boulder, there was this tiny little bird chirping away. It was the little wren, and she was chirping really as loud as she could to say, I should be the king of all birds because I can bring 12 chicks into the world. But nobody heard the little wren because she was so small. Her voice was simply not loud enough above the whole hillful of bird voices. Just wasn't going to be. At that moment, Owl cut through all the noise. Bringing ourselves again into a squat with our knees pointing out to the sides and our hands making binoculars and our elbows some wings. Great Owl said, "It is time. I have decided how we should choose who should be the king of all birds." At this, the hillside grew quiet and everybody listened. Bringing yourself down now into a lying position. If you need a blanket, you can collect one now. I have chosen how we will choose the king of all birds, said Owl. The bird who flies the highest up into the sky should be the one who becomes the king of all birds. Because flight is our special power in this world. Closing your eyes now if you feel comfortable to do so. Notice your body and where it makes contact with the ground. The golden eagle smiled to himself, knowing that he was definitely the strongest of all the birds here. Surely he would fly the highest and, of course, become the king of all birds. The owl asked the birds to prepare themselves, and on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, the birds all took flight into the air. Imagine now, as you are lying here, that your body becomes weightless and you feel as though you are flying in the air. You can feel the breeze of the air against your body. And when you are ready, you can choose to come back down. And one by one, this is exactly what all the birds had to do. They flew as high as they could, but as they began to tire, they turned and came back down to the hillside and waited. The golden eagle flew higher and higher and higher, assured of his success. And at the point where he was just beginning to tire and thinking he should probably head back down, he felt a tickle under his arm, and out crept the little wren, and she scurried onto his head. And as the eagle began to turn and head back down through the sky, little wren took off and flew even higher than the eagle. The eagle swooped down to the ground with grace, and not far behind him came the little wren. Take a moment now. If if you haven't already, to fly yourself back down and into your body. Take a nice deep breath in and sigh it out. "We have a winner," the owl declared. "The winner of the highest flyer in the sky is Little Wren." The birds erupted with their beautiful voices, chirping and cheering and shouting and flapping their wings with delight. And even the golden eagle cheered as he realized that despite his strength, certainly the little wren by far had more wit. And so Little Wren was crowned the king of all birds. Taking a deep breath in once more, wriggling those fingers and toes. Gently pull the knees into the chest and rock just for a moment, and bring yourself up into a comfortable seated position, opening your eyes on the way. I hope you've enjoyed today's session and that you enjoy the story if you haven't yet listened to it. There are many ways to reach the limits of the sky. Jenny Wren certainly found a way, despite being the smallest and perhaps the most unlikely candidate, to actually achieve her dream of becoming the king of all birds. Take care. Hope to see you sometime soon. Bye from Weeby Kids.